bad news for this team, guys. I mean, it's all bad for the Dallas Mavericks. It really, truly is. When you look at this situation, Paul, the Dallas Mavericks, how bad is it for them right now?
When you thought it could get any worse, it just got worse. I feel bad, man, because I hate to see my fellow NBA brothers go down to injury, especially one like Kyrie, who, had to shoulder the load, especially with all been going on in Dallas with the trade and everything. The fans have been disgruntled. The spike in ticket sales, it looks like ticket sales may be going down now because, they lost both of their stars for the year. Who knows if Anthony Davis is going to come back. The crazy thing about it, when I look at it, when they made this trade, everybody was like, Dallas for now. Dallas is win now. They got a chance to make a run in the playoffs. They could come out of the Western Conference. Now it's the complete opposite. Dallas may not even make the playoffs, and it's the Lakers that's in win now mode with Luka. And so it's so ironic when you looked at everything and you look at the big picture, and it just, wow, it's crazy how some things work, guys, isn't it? So I'm extremely sad for Kyrie because of what he's been through in the Dallas Mavericks. But like I said, you hate to see your NBA brothers get hurt, and hopefully he can make a strong recovery and bounce back.
How bad is it in Dallas, Rick?
This is like someone robbed your house and then burned it down, and then you found out that you didn't have insurance. Like, it's just one thing on top of the other. It was bad enough that you make this trade and you're playing for now, and Anthony Davis shows you what he could be for 3 quarters, and then he's gone. And then you're like, okay, well, if we just hold on, like, maybe we can just hold on, and then we'll get him back. And now Kyrie goes down. And here's the thing. Kyrie Irving has an option on his contract for next year, and I'm sure that the Dallas Mavericks and he wanted to rip that up and give him an extension. But now you have to wonder at 33, 34 years old, like, what does that extension look like? It's certainly going to be more robust than the 3 years, $121 million, or the $120 million that he just signed. He's going to want more like closer to $60 million a year than 40. And can you afford to do that? And how is it going to impact the rest of your team? So when they made the trade, the idea was that there was going to be this 2-year window where the Dallas Mavericks had a chance to win now. That was the idea. Well, this not only wipes out this year, but with an ACL, not knowing when Kyrie's going to be back, this affects next year. So it couldn't possibly get worse for the Dallas Mavericks than everything that's happened.
Could it be such a thing as like early voodoo? Like opposed to
karma?
post? Yeah, like karma. Like it's like a Luka.
Payback?
It's like a Luka voodoo effect that they knew in the future that these things were going to happen, and Luka said, because when you think about it, you go all the way back to January 14th in Derek Lively, his ankle stress fracture. Then February 1st, Luka's gone out here west to the Lakers. And then on the 10th of February, Daniel Gafford sprained his MCL. Then February 8th, Anthony Davis, he gets hurt. Now all of a sudden you look up and now Kyrie's hurt in the ACL. It's almost like if for some reason it works in its mysterious ways. Like all of a sudden Luka's moved, and it's like somebody knew all this was going to take place, and Luka wasn't going to be a part of it.
But the other part of that is that if you hadn't made the trade and you lose Kyrie and all these guys are injured, Dallas wouldn't be in good shape in that situation either. So
I know, but doesn't it feel, though, like
it feels like all of this is happening maybe as a result of taking a franchise player and moving him?
Disastrous.
Yes, disastrous.
1 to 10, 10 being the worst is a 10.
Maybe 11.
If they still had Luka, the fans would still they'd be optimistic that they get in the playoffs.
Optimistic.
The Dallas Mavericks are a year removed from the NBA Finals. They're not even going to make the playoffs. A year removed from playing Boston in the NBA Finals. They won't even make the playoffs. And so the fans, that to me is the biggest thing, because when you traded Luka, everybody was up in arms. And it's what Paul said. All right, we got a chance this year. AD come back healthy. We have a chance to do damage this year because everybody I'm a Laker fan. When it happened, I remember exactly where I was at, and I was just like, why? And now I'm like, yeah, I love this. Like like a few days after, I kind of grew into it. And so you feel bad for Kyrie. Now, I don't know how it is. I know when NFL players, when you tear your ACL, I mean, at least a year. Will it be 7 months? If it's 7 months and he can play, he can start playing in December or January of next season, then he'll be fine. He'll be fine. But
how much, Paul, does this affect his style, his game, though? You know, some people can tear their ACL in football, and it doesn't affect their game at all. You know, quarterback can tear his ACL, it doesn't affect their game.
It's going to affect him?
Well, you know, I think with Kyrie, it's a little bit different. You know, he plays under the rim. You know, he's not a guy that's a high flyer or was a hell of a defender, even though he put the effort toward it. But I think he'll make the recovery because ACLs, we talked about this in the back, they're different this year than they have been in the past. You can recover from an ACL and bounce back and still play another, for Kyrie, probably like 4 or 5 more years. I mean, we've seen KD come back from what I thought early in my days was a career-ending injury, which is the Achilles injury. Yeah. And now an ACL, where people used to get microfracture surgeries for that, they no longer do that. So I'm sure he'll make a full recovery and bounce back, and hopefully we get somewhat of what we saw from Kyrie this year and what he's been giving us, this special gift throughout his career, back on the court. So
yeah, and the crazy thing about it is when you look at the NBA Finals, teams that made the NBA Finals, there's 5 teams in the last 30 years that missed the playoffs the following year.
Yeah.
Think about that. And LeBron James, he left twice. Shaq and Phil Jackson left with the Lakers, and then MJ left with the Bills.
Miami Heat, maybe. Didn't make the playoffs. Didn't make the playoffs.
They lost LeBron.
Yeah.
Golden State, KD got hurt.
Right.
Cleveland lost LeBron. Shaq and Phil left. And then Michael left. So everybody, left.
Well, KD left, too.
You know.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt, then he left.
Right.
So that's just wild to think that they were in the finals. They had this thing rolling. Luka, they just need to make a few changes. Poor Nico.
Yeah.
Man, that's going to be so
man.
I mean, but Nico swung for the fences.
No,
he
I
swung
understand.
for the fences, and it didn't work. And so it
I
happens.
understand. He swung and missed.
Right now, if I'm the
struck
owner of
out.
the Dallas Mavericks right now, it's going to be some tough conversations going on from the top all the way down to the
Even
bottom.
though those injuries are not his fault,
it doesn't matter.
He's still
But ownership had to have approved the trade. Like, you're not just going to be Nico Harrison.
They didn't just approve it. They wanted to see it.
So they were at the front of it.
They were. We don't want to pay Luka Doncic. Look, this dude's hurt. He's injured the same calf 3 times in the last year. He was out of shape and was exploited in the finals, and then came back as the same dude. And now we got to pay him 5 years, $345 million.
Are you saying Nico Harrison is just the face of getting all the backlash when it was the ownership pushing him to do this?
Taking all the bullets.
You don't think that Nico had these tough conversations with the owner to the point? Well, obviously you got to go to the owner.
But
he has to present it to the owner.
I don't think he had to convince the owner to do this. I think the owner looked at it and said, "We're new to this game. You're talking to me. I gotta pay this dude $345 million for the next 5 years, and he can't play, and he's out of shape." And they didn't.
Out of shape, can't play, drinks beer, smokes hookah, and we was in the NBA Finals.
My guy. My type of guy.
Wouldn't you take that, Paul?
My guy.
I'll sign up with that. We signed up for it.
But
here in L.A., we're going to give him the max, whatever we can give him.
And Mark Cuban would have.
Yeah.
But Mark Cuban doesn't own this team anymore.
Yeah.
You had somebody brand new who's never owned a professional sports team before, may not be familiar with the lifestyle of professional athletes and what they're capable of doing regardless of how they live their lives.
You know a guy, it popped into my head just now, you know a guy who won 6 titles, 2 3-peats? He did a lot.
Yeah.
You know, he smoked his cigars.
He's around the clock.
To swirl his wine, drink his tequilas.
He's also 1-of-1.
18
holes of golf before the game. Go to Jersey, Atlantic City the night before the game, do his little, gambling hangout.
And then give you 30.
And then drop 30 on your head. Yeah, I don't think the Chicago Bulls would have traded Luka. Let's make a transition here. Transitioning to football, to the football field. The biggest news in the NFL is that the Jets are releasing Davante Adams, who was with the New York Jets for just 4.5 months. Adams was considered to be one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League when he left the Packers just 3 seasons ago. and was named an All-Pro in his first season with the Las Vegas Raiders. So, TJ, are you surprised that the Jets are moving on from Davante?
No. We all knew it was coming. You're trying to trade him. It didn't work out with Aaron Rodgers.
Good luck with that.
It was more of a package deal. It didn't work out. Who's going to take on that salary that Davante Adams has? Nobody is going to take. Like, the fact that the Jets tried to trade him was surprising. They knew nobody was going to trade
Try to
him.
bamboozle somebody.
Like,
Well, you got to try. Throw it out there.
You can always get a sucker.
Sucker born every minute.
Always get a sucker.
hey, it wasn't a sucker this year because they wasn't giving up a 7th rounder. Like, and to me, it's going to be his first time in technically being a free agent. So now you can kind of go where you want to go, pick and choose. Now, you can pick and choose, but are they going to want you? How much money are you going to want? So there's so much that goes into this. What do you expect in the teams that you want to play for that have good quarterbacks? The majority of the teams that have good quarterbacks also have good receivers. Do they want to bring that into their building?
But he ain't a bring that into the building type guy. Take can still go.
No, he can play.
Still play.
It ain't the play. It's the personality.
But he doesn't have that type of personality though.
We thought that. No. We thought that until I watched the receiver documentary with the Raiders. That's what I thought too, until I watched that.
Yeah, but Tay, I don't see him as a person that you would scratch your head twice about coming into.
He ain't gonna talk how we talk. But when I saw that receiver documentary, I was shocked. I was shocked. And I know I wasn't the only one shocked because I don't know Davante Adams. But I was shocked by some of the things that he said and the way he was going about things. And if I was shocked, I'm sure other people were as well because I thought he was just real chill, real quiet. That ain't him all the way.
But can't that be circumstantial? I mean, the Jets situation was a bad situation.
Yeah.
Like,
But that was when he was with the Raiders.
Yeah, it was with the Raiders.
That was when he was with the Raiders. And
well, he was talking.
He chose to go to the Raiders. He chose to go to the Jets.
Yeah, but when he chose to go to the Raiders, he thought that he was going with his college quarterback for a length of time. That didn't last very long with Derek Carr. So they moved on from Derek Carr, and he was kind of stuck in neutral with what they had. So I understand what TJ is saying in the documentary that they did. I forgot Receiver or whatever it's called. You know, he said some stuff that made people scratch their heads because he was speaking about people that were throwing him the football or lack thereof. Look. Well, I'm not surprised that AG moved on from him because AG wanted to clean house and get all of the Aaron Rodgers, so to speak, connections out the building, which all head coaches that take over new programs.
They all do it.
They all want to do it and put their own stamp on it. So I'm not surprised about it at all.
Well, aside from that, I mean, you don't know who your quarterback is and the what it was cost you. Davante Adams' cap hit this year and next year was the highest cap hit for any player in the league that's not a quarterback. Think about that. You can stop right there. There's no way from where the Jets are right now that you are taking that cap hit for Davante Adams, period.
But he can still help some people. I'm not surprised that he got released because of some of the things, Key, you said with, just getting out with the old stench that was left by Rodgers and, his resume that came in there, coaches and all. But he can still, he'll probably be the number one wide receiver free agent.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, he will be.
On the board.
Yeah. He'll be 32, I believe.
Yeah, so he can still help some teams out.
You know who need him.
Steelers can
I know who can use him right now off the top of my head. I'm going there if I'm him. I'm going to Kansas City.
I got two teams.
I ain't even thinking about that now.
Kansas City and the Chargers. They both need a receiver, and they both have good quarterbacks.
What about Green Bay?
Yeah, I think I like the Chargers too.
In Green Bay, you could have stayed in Green Bay. You ain't think Jordan
100%
Love?
He could have stayed.
You ain't think Jordan Love was good enough? I don't know if that would work.
His opinion might have
But that was
changed
3
by
years
now.
ago, though.
But
3 years ago when I'm watching him, that was like his sophomore year in the pros. That was like his second year.
It would have technically been his 4th year in the league because he sat for 3 behind Aaron Rodgers.
No. When Davante left 3 years ago, Jordan Love was still only like in his second year in the league. So it's kind of hard to look at him.
It's going into his 4th season.
Was it going into his 4th?
Yeah, going into his 4th
But he hadn't played, so it's hard to really gauge
Kansas
what he
City
looked
and the
like, 'cause
Chargers
he ain't really getting no snaps.
would be
Kansas City
my first
for sure.
option. Those would be my first options. The Chargers and the Chiefs would be my first two
And he
options.
can always, if San Francisco
Buffalo.
looking for Buffalo would be a good one.
Yeah.
That would be a good one for him, but does he want to go back to that code and play in that code? You know, even though he was just in New York, does he want to do that in Buffalo? I think San Francisco would be a good option for him because I'm sure they'll be looking for receivers here soon. You mentioned the Chargers. That'll be a hell of an option. Kansas City's an option.
What does he have left?
In the tank?
Yeah.
A lot. A lot.
See,
And when I
his
say
game-
a lot means in the next 2 seasons,
Yeah.
you can get a lot out of him with a team that is
ready to win.
that's ready to win, that need a
His
receiver.
game isn't predicated on getting down the field. He is going to beat you at the line of scrimmage all 97% of the time, and he's going to separate at the top of the route. And he's a receiver that we would call, he's quarterback friendly.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get open. He's going to make you feel comfortable throwing him the ball because he can run routes and he can beat press coverage. And those are the two things that a lot of guys can't do. Some guys may do one or the other. He can do both. And he's still going to be able to do both at least 2 to 3 more seasons.
Yeah. This is why I believe that Green Bay trumps all of that, because he has history in
But they
Green Bay,
got a room full of receivers already. So I don't know if they
like Davante,
Yeah, but I don't know if it didn't end.
Well, you're
well.
looking at it from Green Bay perspective. I'm looking at it from Davante.
No, because Green Bay's got to.
They gotta want him.
They got to want me for me to even entertain.
And
him.
want me at a good price.
Yeah, because
at
Tay,
a price
one
that
thing I
feel
can tell you, Rick,
comfortable
about
with.
Tay, he ain't taking no hometown discount.
Okay.
He's just not. He's not going to do it for free, basically.
Well, but if he's going to go to the teams that you guys have talked about, he's going to have to take some kind of a discount.
Nah.
They're not going to pay full.
The Chiefs
Chiefs are going to
need-
pay full price.
The Chiefs need him bad.
In the
The
worst way.
Chargers need him
Think about it.
bad.
The Chiefs wouldn't
These
got-
teams need him bad. It's not like he's
The
a
Chiefs-
luxury to the Chiefs. They need a receiver, and they're starting to realize that now because if they had a better receiver in the Super Bowl, the game may turn out different. They may still lose. And also the Chargers, they had one receiver that they could rely on.
They got,
I would say
they got
this,
McConkey
man.
with the Chargers. That's it.
Being bookended by wide receivers, man, the value of wide receivers is through the roof on this
I mean, I'm
show.
telling you.
That's not true.
The only thing that kept the Kansas City Chiefs from winning the Super Bowl this year was they didn't have a wide receiver.
No, I wouldn't say that. I look at
That's kinda
I
just
just
what
look
I
at
heard.
the need though. Teams that need this type of player, they'll pay to get it. Think about the Chiefs. They went and got D-Hop. Okay? And D-Hop had a big number. They traded for him. He did okay, but it wasn't like he set the world on fire. They're going to lose D-Hop. They're going to lose Juju, Hollywood Brown. So they're losing at least 3. They don't know if Rasheed Rice,
No,
what
makes
he's going to look like coming back. We know that Davante is healthy. So we know exactly what it is. Was it a mistake, though, for Davante to follow Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets?
Yes, and it was his mistake to follow his other buddy, Derek Carr, to the Raiders. Like, the reason, look, I always look at the why. I don't have a problem with anybody changing up if they're going to put themselves in a better situation to win, right?
Oh, that was a better situation. The Jets was definitely better than the Raiders.
Yeah, but the Raiders weren't better. But this all started with, I'm going to go to the Raiders. And then, like, what I find, I don't know if you guys looked at the trade. So the trade for Davante Adams was a 3rd-round pick. It was a second
If he had made certain things.
if he was all pro and if they went to the Super Bowl or the conference championship. That's where everybody thought that the New York Jets were. The overvaluation of where the New York Jets were when they went and got Davante Adams was through the roof.
Well, they
It
got
should've been.
tricked, though. They got
tricked how?
Because they were a bad team when they made the trade. Had they made that trade in the summertime or something like that, that you look at it, you go, okay, because that's when you started. That's when the league, the year started, and everybody was looking at the Jets and saying, okay, Aaron Rodgers, the team, you look at everything that they have. But when they made the trade, the Jets were not good. When they made that trade, they were not a good team.
Understood. But I'm just saying, well, wait a minute. They hadn't proven themselves to be that bad.
No, they had.
At
the
that
Jets,
point,
The Jets were trash. They were trash.
The Jets were trash when they traded for Davante. Had they made that trade in the summer, I would have given them exactly what they gave the Raiders to get him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gave up nearly that at that point in time because if you remember, Davante wanted out because he was injured.
Sure.
And he had been hurt for like a couple weeks.
Sure.
And at the time, it was like, it hurt, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Hurt,
There we go. There we go.
At the time,
I'm gonna stay hurt unless I go someplace else.
And so I know he wants out. I'm not giving you a third with a conditional 2 if you did this or that. No, I could give you a 5 or a 4, but I'm not giving you a 3. So the Raiders actually won this situation.
Yeah, there was still the expectation that they weren't going to be as bad as they proved to be.
It wasn't a mistake. If you unpack it and you go back to Green Bay, it wasn't a mistake leaving Green Bay. You got Jordan Love, who you don't know what he's going to be, and you can go play with Derek Carr,
Which
who
you know.
we know.
Yeah.
We know. So that wasn't a mistake. It looks like a mistake now that we've seen the movie already.
It's Rick, the Raiders.
But look, Rick.
But you're playing with your college quarterback who's had some success in the league, or you're going to play with a quarterback who hasn't had success yet in the league.
But it's go somewhere who's familiar with the quarterback.
Yeah, but he also in his first year
But you're not
with the Raiders,
familiar with the organization.
Right. No, but the organization made some mistakes by, in my opinion, moving on from Derek Carr because they didn't want to pay the money and he wasn't having a great year. But Davante, first year, he was an All-Pro his first year with the Raiders. Mm-hmm. He was an All-Pro. He was a team captain. So he benefited from some things, and he got his money. Where Green Bay was playing around with his money like they T. Higgins in Cincinnati, playing with the money, don't want to pay you, not sure if we want to give it to you. Had they paid him when he wanted it, they would have got him for a lot less.
I think that was because he was tied to the hip to Aaron Rodgers at the time.
No, he wasn't tied to the hip. That's why he left. Because he made the decision that Aaron Rodgers
this is our last year. No, they played that last year like it was the last dance. No. He was making it like, I don't want to be here anymore if Aaron's not going to be here.
Because they didn't want to pay him.
And Aaron was playing around on whether or not he wanted to play football or I haven't decided. I'm going to go on a retreat somewhere with Paul Pierce and hang out. But anyway.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.